I hear voices. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Don't get the straitjacket quite yet. I hear voices, but I like to use those voices in the speeches that I do. Your voice should be expressive. It should be full of emotion. An expressive voice adds more meaning to the words you use. It enhances your message, and it adds interest to your audience. I like to use vocal variety, and the vocal variety I use for my speeches are impressions. Several years ago, I worked for an international telecommunications distributor. Part of my responsibility was to handle the English-speaking international customers. One of my first calls was a gentleman from Japan. Mr. Maida, this is Nagasa. If it pleases you, we would like to place an order for $10,000. I said, well, that does please me. What would please me even more is an order for $20,000. Ah, I know it would please you, but it would not please us. We will place order for $10,000 now, and $10,000 in 30 days. I also used to deal with the people in Australia. Now in Australia, because of the time difference, they would usually call me after dinner. G'day mate, this is Nigel. We just had some shrimp on the barbie and a bottle of wine. I need to place an order for some Martel dialers before I fall on the face. I also had to deal with a gentleman in the UK named Frank. Now, the first language and second language of people in the UK is English, because half the time I couldn't understand what he was saying. And after 6 months, I complimented him. I said, Frank, your English is getting excellent. I'm getting to the point now where I can actually understand what you're saying. During that time, we would talk about family and chit-chat, and I still talk to him to this day. But this one particular day, it was the Queen Mum's 90th birthday. And all of England was celebrating, and I said, Frank, what do you think about the Queen Mum's 90th birthday? And he said, well, if you truly believe that the good die young, then the truly dreadful just seem to linger. I said, oh, you don't think much of the Queen and the royals, do you? Let me put it this way. I believe they all should have been smothered at birth. Part of my responsibilities was also to handle the state of Texas and the country of Louisiana. Yes, Louisiana is a country all by itself. I used to deal with a gentleman named Boudreaux, and he'd call me on the phone. Hey, Mr. Kirk, this is Boudreaux. Why don't you come down and have a little crawfish etouffee with a little onion? Woo-wee, that's good. We got some alligators last weekend. You cook them up, you come down, you just love that alligator. And I did. And I went to see him a couple times. And of course I handled Texas. Most of you know that I grew up in Pennsylvania. So Texan is a different language altogether. I dealt with a gentleman named Charlie Tex Johnson. Charlie called me. Hey Kirk, Charlie Tex Johnson, China Livestock Breeders Association. That networking gear you got us was awesome. I told all my friends about it. We were out the deer blind. It was just, I told them, if you need to talk to Kirk Binder, don't worry about it. Give you a great price. Everything will be awesome. Charlie Tex is still a good friend of mine. But I would say some of my favorite voices have to be elderly people and Indians. Now this is something you can use because first, having this international job, I didn't realize the cast of characters and the library of people that I would meet and the different impressions that I would learn. There's probably a lot of people in your life that you could do an impression of and use in your speeches. You've heard me do my Indian and old lady before, but think of this scenario. The Indian calls the old woman. Hello, ma'am. My name is Bob. I have been hired by the federal government to ask you a survey of what you think about the healthcare system. Do you have time to speak?
Well, let's see. My name is Claire. I'm 91 years old and I'm sanding the bottom of my foot right now. But I suppose I could take some time to answer your question.
Well, ma'am, what do you think of the healthcare system?
Well, let me paint a picture for you. I'm as nervous as a naked man crawling over a barbed wire fence. Does that paint a picture for you, Bob?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I believe it does. I will not need you for the rest of the survey. I will fill it out myself. Now, something you may be sitting there thinking, I can't do this. Well, there's certain trigger words that also help me with my different characters. And now we're all going to participate in speaking with an Indian accent. The word hot dog pulls me into my Indian accent. Now everybody say, hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog.
Hot dog.
Very good. Another easy one is Australian. What do they always say? Good day, mate. Everybody. Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Good day,
Good day, mate. Excellent. You've started on the path of using vocal variety and impressions in your speeches. I hear voices, and I love to use them in my speeches to improve my speeches and enhance my vocal variety.